Hello, we are Team 4. I'm Jimena Marroquin and I'm going to talk about the cell. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit for all living beings. Every cell, from the simplest to the most complex, works as a miniature autonomous molecular factory. Some characteristics of the cell are the cells are complex and highly organized. Whether an organism is made of a single cell or many cells, this beta unit have internal parts in a specific position. The second characteristic is cells possess the ability to replicate. Cells replicate by division, whereby the mother cell has duplicated the genetic material so that the new cell receives a complete and identical set of the original information. The third characteristic is cells obtain energy to maintain the cell's high degree of organization and complexity. And to sustain the metabolism, the cells need a constant supply of energy. The energy source depends on the organism but may come from the sun's electromagnetic energy or molecules synthesized by other organisms. The fourth is cell interact with the environment, possess various structures on their surface which act as receptors. This response can initiate a reaction, produce cell displacement, trigger cell death, etc. All cells have plasma membrane. The function of plasma membrane is to surround the cell and acts a border or boundary with the outside environment. All cells contain cytoplasms. The membrane encloses the cytoplasm, which is a mixture of a jelly-like fluid and variety of structures called organelles that are suspended in it. Also located within the cytoplasm is the cytoskeleton, which is made up of protein filaments that support the cell and allow it to move and change shape. All cells contain and pink light with the genetic material, particularly desoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, which in the form of segment called genes stores the information to make new cells and internal components. Depending on the cell type, the genetic material may be contained within a nucleus or suspended in the cytoplasm. Exist two types of cells, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are found only in the bacteria and archaea, and the eukaryotic cells form the structure of protists, fungi, and animals.
I'm going to explain the topic, the characteristics of living beings. The first characteristic is that they are made of only one or more cells. All living organisms are made of cells. They are unicellular or multicellular organisms. The second is that they have metabolism, that's it, chemical reaction and transform molecules on cellular life. The third is that they maintain homeostasis, that is, several critical factors such as temperature and acidity. The fourth is that is responsible for stimuli. This ability allows to adapt and respond to change. The fifth is that has DNA contains a lot of information to control the different processes and that keep an organism alive. The sixth is that they agrome. The information is in the DNA controls the growth and development of organisms. The seventh characteristic is that they can reproduce. They are asexually and asexually. The characteristic is that can alone adapt to embodiment. The first difference is that eukaryote has the different nucleus, while prokaryote has the nucleus. The next thing is that eukaryote is the most smaller on the eukaryote. Another difference is the eukaryote varies a lot in the shape, when the prokaryote is the shape more like a rod and spiral. The front difference is that DNA is found in the nucleus in the eukaryote and the prokaryote is in the nucleus. The first difference is that prokaryote has the direct cell division, eukaryote has meiosis and mitosis. The prokaryotes they expression their hands in appearance, while eukaryotes say expression ability. The result is the eukaryotes are large and the prokaryotes they are small. Another difference is that prokaryotes have say 1%, when in the prokaryotes only animals and plants have is 8%. Last difference is that eukaryote is the main color eukarya, with the eukaryote is the color bacteria and archaea.
There are many knowledge inventors of the microscope, such as Zacharias Janssen, Hans Lippershey, Cornelius Drebbel, and Galileo Galilei. Now, I will explain the history of microscope. In the year 1000, glasses are invented. 21 years after, Al Heitman published his Book of Optics. In the year 1590, Hans and Zacharias made a first compound of the microscope by magnifying objects 3 or 9 times their original size. 75 years after, Robert Hooke designed a microscope of 3 lenses, magnifying samples between 20 to 50 times their actual size. And finally, in the 16-17 years, Anton van Leeuwenhoek perfected the microscope to magnifying objects 200 to 300 times their original size. History of the cell theory. In the year of 1665, Robert Hooke observed the first cell on a cork with a primitive microscope. Leeuwenhoek described them as small animalcular in the year of 1667. Years later, the same scientific observed the first living cells, and in 1680 discovered the sperm in a semen. In the year of 1839, Schladen and Schaumann proposed the cell theory, and in the same year, Riemeke discovered the ganglion cells in the human heart. In the year of 1841, Albert Kolliken discovered that every sperm is a cell, and Riemeke proved that the ovule is a cell in 1852. And finally, in the year of 1858, Rudolf Virchow says that every cell comes from a previous cell.
Hi, my name is Asura, and today we'll explain the next topics. The first one is the active transport. That is when a carrier protein moves molecules or ions across the membrane against a concentration gradient that requires cell energy. The endocytosis is when the cells need to acquire extensive materials from the extracellular environment that are engulfed by the plasma membrane and transport through vesicles. And the endocytosis have 3 types of materials. The first one is pinocytosis, the second one is receptor mediated, and the third one is phagocytosis. And the last topic is exocytosis, that is when the cells need to invest energy to release certain substances which remain enclosed in vesicles that fuse with the plasma membrane to diffuse the content of the cytosol. Thank you.
Positive transport. Positive transport does not require energy input. It's occurs by diffusion, osmosis, and facilitated diffusion. What is diffusion? Diffusion is the process by which molecules move from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. Molecules such as water, oxygen, or some ions quickly cross the cell membrane through the pores of the proteins without the cell expending energy. What is the osmosis? The osmosis is the phenomenon of diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane that separates two solutions with different concentration of solute. The different concentration of solute allow them to be classified as isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic. What is the facilitated dimension? If the substances that need the membrane are ions or polar molecules of considerable size and low solubility, they must use specific transport proteins. This phenomenon is called facilitated dimension. The transport protein require no additional energy transport. 2 types of protein allow facilitated diffusion: transport proteins and channel proteins.
My name is Gerardo, and I'm going to explain about levels of organization, and all bodily functions such as maintaining healthy glucose levels, proper temperature, blood oxygen levels, and so on, rely on a coordinating system, performing different tasks simultaneously. Then, an atom converts a molecule, a set of molecules converts an organelle, and a set of organelle converts to a cells, and a set of cells converts a tissue, and tissue converts organ, and then a set of organs make a organ system, and then life. And I will explain about homeostasis. And one of the main characteristics distinguishing living beings from non-living things is the ability to maintain their internal conditions despite the condition of the internal environment. There is now a homeostasis, and one example of homeostasis is when your body has so much sugar in blood, your body is trying to balance your sugar in blood and release insulin. And this is one example of homeostasis. Thank you.
Pregnancy. Pregnancy is the period in which a fetus develops in the woman's womb or uterus, which is caused by the fertilization of a sperm in the woman's egg. This period is divided into 40 weeks and lasts approximately 200 days. The symptoms that often occurs are lack of menstruation, nausea with or without vomiting, breast pain, mood swings, spooning, etc. But what consequence to survive as a teenager? And only there is a 15.5% of teenage pregnancy, which are the second cause of death worldwide for young women between 15 and 19 years old. In addition to all the risk factors such as dropping out of the school, social rejection, etc., there are also complications at the time of delivery, which are preeclampsia and eclampsia. The first refers to the increase in blood pressure, which has direct effects on the brain, and the second to seizures that can occur because the body is not sufficiently developed. Now, addictions. It is a brain disease which consists of a neurobiological component and social affect. It generates change in brain circuits that make the person consume compulsively despite the negative social, physical, and physiological consequences. Addictions have consequences in all areas of personal life. They can cause seriously family problems, work and academic deficits, lost confidence, self-esteem problems, etc. Dopamine is an important part of this issue because it is a molecule that fulfills the function of act when we feel pleasure. Drugs produce an intense euphoria that produces surges of dopamine that powerfully reinforce the connection between drugs use, the resulting pleasure, and all external cues relate to the experience. Large dopamine surge takes the brain to seek drugs and to neglect other healthy activities and purposes. Some factors by which adolescents may start with drugs use are parents are addicts, poor nutrition, extreme poverty, etc. Next, we have obesity. Mexico is the most obese country in the world, and in Nuevo León, almost 16% of the state's inhabitants are obese or overweight. It is a chronic disease caused by the excessive consumption of fats, sugar, and carbohydrates, which causes the accumulation of fat in your body. It also involves little or no physical activity. It is a medical problem that increases the risk for many other diseases and health problems. These can include heart diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, and certain types of cancer. Its symptoms are shortness of breath during the day and when sleeping, reflux and heartburn, leg pain and cramping, and loss of control for a week. Thank you for watching.